Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jim. I watched a movie called The Seven Darks, and at the time that I watched this, I didn't realize it, but it's an anthology, and that makes sense with that title, The Seven Darks. This is a 2024 film, 1 hour and 3 minutes. I also rented this on Prime Video, I think for $2.99. Written and directed by Alexander Henderson, and it's about a man who receives 7 phone calls from a dark entity. And this is one of these movies where there's a big cast because there's 7 short stories. Matthew Brown, Jennifer Buckley, Zach Coates, Brandon Logan Enigma, Alexander Henderson, John Allen Herbert, Ricky Lee Milbank, Rena Park, Daja Peters, Marissa Patterson, and Reed Schmidt are the listed actors on IMDb. None of them, except for 2 people, have actual character names, and those were Lucky Girls. And this was a very interesting anthology. So it doesn't have so I have like these rules of anthology that I prefer. This doesn't adhere to it, but boy, it was really enjoyable and it was very well paced. It's a short 1 hour and 3 minutes. Again, I don't know. I'm on this weird thing of finding like these 1 hour movies, but they're fitting into my schedule so well. And this is just like it says: a man receives 7 phone calls from a dark entity. So we don't ever really get to see what is the dark entity, but we do see the opening shot of like a payphone, if you know what a payphone is. Um, and it rings and rings, and then you see a hand pull into the screen and pick up the phone and answer it. And there's like this ominous voice that says a phrase or a word that ends up being related to the title of that particular short. And then we immediately go into the short, and then it ends. And what is interesting about each one of the 7 shorts is that the end, as it's kind of like fading out, it's giving you the title of what that particular short was. And I like that. I like knowing what that little horror short was titled. So there's 7 of them. I've said that a couple of times. And the first story was one of the longer ones. And it really set the tone. It's very, very dark and just interesting and creepy. So that title was Creature in the Dark. I'm just going to tell you the titles of the 7. Uh, the second story was Lucky Girl, and the third was The Necklace. The fourth was Stare. 5 was Photobomb. 6 was The Ohio Parking Lot. And 7 was Toto Towing. And there is actually an 8th ring at the end, um, but it just keeps ringing, and then the end credits roll. Very smart, very cool. So a lot of these horror shorts are just basic plays on fear, fear of walking alone in a street or an alley, or um, kind of being so bold as to be brave enough to walk into a tunnel to manifest good luck, but then to have things go a little sideways, um, encountering creepy people at a bus stop, or in a parking lot, your car breaks down, kind of a deal. So yeah, it's a lot of very, very basic um, thrills, playing on people's natural everyday fears that are kind of true to real life. There is nothing about this that has like a huge attempt at jump scares, or like gory, shocking stuff, but definitely all of the shorts are playing on atmosphere and just tension from the situation. You get like invested in the main characters like very, very quickly, even though these are such short um, horror stories. It's very. I thought it was very well done. like I said, it's only 1 hour and 3 minutes, so 63 minutes. And the first story was about 13 minutes. So after that, the stories get a little bit shorter, but the pacing is really, really good, and it's really interesting. All of the acting was very, very good. This was not a typical like B movie, C movie, D level actors and actresses. Like they all had very good, believable acting performances, and all of the settings were very easy to buy into for whatever particular story was going on. And I really can't say enough about this this anthology. I was very surprised. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it doesn't follow like my preferred anthology type story, which is where we are introduced to a couple of characters and whatever, there's a story laid out, and then we break into the different short stories, and then there's an ending that kind of wraps around and kind of ties things together. I like that in particular, but this is one of the rare anthologies that doesn't follow that my preferred, method, but works so good. This was very easy. I tend to find that during certain anthologies, I like to be able to have the option to pause in between stories and go to the bathroom or get some food or whatever, take a break. Not once did I ever feel the need to do that with this movie, and that's usually a gauge for me of how into it I was. And also, the downside with the anthologies is there's always like, say this is 7 stories. There's a good chance where there's going to be 2 or 3 that are just they're okay. But for this one, like all of them were very good. They were just really, really good. I don't want to go into too much, but again, it's really well done, smart usage of just playing on everyday people's fears without being like shock value to drive the story or jump scares. So very thrilling, very horror element because there are kills, there are murder scenes and whatnot. So I don't know, it's worth checking out on Prime. $2.99 for an hour movie. I don't think that's too bad. Let me know in the comments down below what are your favorite types of anthologies. And thanks for tuning into the channel. And keep checking back for all sorts of great random stuff.
Row 18, plot 20.